Hi, everyone. This is Dr. T from the Commander Doctors Facebook group. I am happy to be talking to Dr. Amy Adair today. She is a second-generation pediatric dentist. She has served in the Navy as a pediatric dentist and as a GP for 8 years. She has two little boys, 9 and 10 years old. She lives with her husband in Burke, and she practices in Burke as well, a second-generation dentist, like I said. She likes baseball and coaching baseball, her boys' team. She wants to model a strong culture of positivity and growth mindset mentality for her boys' team. Welcome, Dr. Amy.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about there were 3 bills that passed after the dental lobby days in our recent House of Delegates meeting that we had down in Richmond a few weeks ago. And the goal of today, I think, is to just share those 3 bills and dive a little deeper into the transparency bill.
I should mention we know each other from being VDA delegates. And I think Muhabir Skala connected us on Facebook. Of course, he's a wonderful guy. He authored the question 2 in Massachusetts, which ignited all this activity. It made us realize what a dental loss ratio is. And as you said, the VDA, they do good efforts to advance the interests of dentists. Let's look at the bills that passed.
The Dentist and Dental Hygienist Compact is basically a compact between several different states, where if one holds a unrestricted license in one state, they can apply to get a compact type license in a different participating state as well. And with the mobility of families a lot nowadays, especially military families, this is a really great piece of legislation to help kind of bypass some of the difficult loopholes and being able to practice in a state that they maybe have to move to only for a couple of years.
It's my understanding that only 3 states have adopted this compact, and there are more states to do that. Can you share with me the map?
Yes, let me bring that up. Okay, so far what we can see here is that in the purple, this is where the legislation has already been enacted. And then in the green states, those are the ones where the legislation is pending. So the way I understand it is, let's say someone holds a license in the state of Washington, and then they are moving to the state of Virginia. And once the legislation goes through in Virginia, then somebody who has a license in Washington can apply through the compact to be able to practice in the state of Virginia.
Great. That's also a good piece of legislation by the VDA. And then let's share the other piece of legislation, which is really beneficial to dentists. Dentistry is a very stressful job. Mental health is nothing to be ashamed of. We have Dr. Brett Kessler, the president-elect of the ADA. He talks about his dependency, and he is clean for a long time now. And a program such as this program, Safe Haven, it helps dentists and hygienists seek early mental health without repercussions. You're not afraid of any repercussions to happen to you by being honest and by being vulnerable and showing that you have a mental health issue and you need help. And we all, in a way, need help in one way or another. So that's a very good piece of legislation by the VDA as well. And then let's get to our bill, the real bill that we are here to talk about, the Dental Insurance Transparency Bill. How did this bill pass in the House of Delegates that we were in January 19th and 20th?
At the General Assembly in Richmond, this bill was presented and supported by the Virginia Dental Association and many of us dentists that were there lobbying for this bill to pass. And it passed unanimously through the House and the Senate during the General Assembly this year in 2024.
Okay, and that's the flyer that's been distributed to us. So it's basically explaining the bill that it's unclear how much of a patient's annual premium is spent on actual dental care in the large group market. So it's a transparency bill.
Yes, and the spirit of this bill is meant to show the public, the general public, where are their premium dollars going and how much of their premium dollars are going actually in benefits as opposed to other administrative or other costs that the dental carrier incurs. So
And
it's a great spirit of the bill.
okay,
We want the transparency in there
you
so
want the,
that it can create competition.
so we can have more data to, if we want to implement an actual dental loss ratio and enforce it, we're going for the reporting route. We're going for data collection route, so we can make informed decisions and informed legislation in the future. So it says that the bill SB 257 and HB 1132 will increase transparency and accountability in dental insurance by requiring dental insurance carriers to simply disclose their actual loss ratio annually in the large group, small group, and individual markets. What will this legislation require? The BOI will post annual dental insurance carriers' actual loss ratios on their website. A 2-year look back will allow patients and employers to understand and compare trends among dental insurance companies and how much of their premium dollars are spent on dental care. A work group will also be convened of stakeholders, including dental carriers, to evaluate the need for changes regarding ethics and fairness in dental carrier business practices. So keep that word in mind, a work group. How will Virginians benefit? Enables employers and patients to make informed decisions, like we said, incentivizing dental plans to encourage patients to actually use their benefits. Transparency and accountability will protect patients and provide incentives for insurers to operate efficiently. This is not a bill to mandate specific dental loss ratio. Like we said, it's for transparency and reporting. The VDA team has incorporated all technical suggestions recommended by the Bureau of Insurance. Delta Dental of Virginia and the VA Association of Health Plans reviewed and offered suggestions for this legislation and are not opposed. So what does that tell you if Delta Dental is not opposed to this bill?
This is where I raised my eyebrow. I was pretty good through all of this until I saw that.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And I think that's the meat of what we're going to be going into.
Okay, so let's not spend any more time. Can you share your screen with us, please?
Yes. I'm calling this the journey to transparency. Talk is really going into, Virginia's journey to transparency with insurance companies and this DLR journey. I do encourage all of us dentists in Virginia to join our VDA and really stay informed and ask the questions and provide the input, which is what our goal for today is to ask some of the tough questions, and hopefully we can get some answers through our VDA that we're bringing up. It's all about perspective. And I had my 10-year-old draw this for me today. We may have seen this, but when you're looking at a cylinder, it depends what angle you're looking at it. And both ways you're seeing it, it is a true thing that you're seeing, but it's not until you put all of the perspectives and ideas together that we can actually get to the truth and what is a meaningful solution to the problem that we're having. So let me just step back a little bit. What is DLR and how does this relate to the Massachusetts Q2? DLR stands for dental loss ratio. And the spirit of a DLR is to provide transparency in how much of our premium dollars are actually going towards our benefits. And so ultimately, it's this simple equation. The benefit money that's going out to providers divided by the premium monies that's coming in, and that equals your dental loss ratio. That is it, plain and simple. We have to acknowledge Doctors Muhab Rizkala and Abe Abdul, along with many, many others who spent effort, time, and money and wrote the Massachusetts Q2 law to include a very specific language that limits dental carriers from fudging these DLR numbers. And they are a wonderful resource that we can utilize to make sure that our Commonwealth gets this right. Our view is that a DLR really must be a true representation of the data for the public. Anything less than accurate reporting really nullifies the purpose of a DLR. And we don't want to allow exclusions within the reporting to be legal. The language of the bill as it stands, I believe, or we believe, is that it's making it legal for these dental carriers to exclude data when they are reporting the DLR. And VDA members and leadership, we really need to come together right now and agree on what do we collectively agree is the foundation of accurate reporting for a DLR. And we need to fight for those particular revisions to be in place if we can before this really does become law. As a result of that, if we can do this, Virginia can set a strong foundation for reporting, and it's going to be an uphill battle, but we have the opportunity to be a strong model for the rest of our nation. So how does all of this law stuff work? I'm a dentist. I'm going to be completely honest. This is a very, very new realm for me. So I'm trying to like unpack it and unravel it as we're going through this. But this is my, basic level of understanding of how, these laws and everything came into play. So first, Massachusetts Q2, that was able to pass. It should be noted that that passed through a public vote. And in Virginia, it was not passed through a public vote, which can be called a referendum. It was through the legislative bodies, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate. And it's much harder to get something like this passed through those legislative bodies as opposed to through a public voting
Referendum.
thing. Thank you.
Yes.
And so that had to be taken into account for how we got to where we are right now in Virginia. So once Massachusetts Q2 passed, the VDA, they followed this very, very closely. And they were also following very closely what other states were doing, what they were trying, what was working and what wasn't working. And based on that information, a decision was made in the VDA to take what's called a stepwise approach, which is let's start with reporting only legislation, because we don't think that we can get in a DLR ratio mandate passed through the House and the Senate without any data to back up why we're saying that this is a desired
Good
goal
idea to do,
or a good idea. So we're taking the stepwise approach, and we're going to start with reporting only. Good. We need the data, right? You always have to start with the data. Absolutely. So a bill was created, and the VDA dentist during lobby day, we advocated for it to our legislatures at the General Assembly in Richmond, Virginia. And the two bills, HB, that's for the House, HB 1132, and SB, that's Senate Bill 257, they passed unanimously in the House and in the Senate. Once that went through, then there was a House subcommittee called the Subcommittee Number 1. They made a couple of amendments, and that passed through unanimously. And that's where we are right now. You can see where that little arrow with the star is. After that, then a work group gets to be formed, and I believe that's starting in July. Yes. That will submit and make recommendations to the current law.
Let me correct. I think what happens in July is that this bill passes and becomes law, and then the work group gets formed afterwards by the stakeholders in the VDA and the insurance carriers and the DSOs, Association of DSOs.
Okay, to make revisions.
Supposedly to make revisions. These are one of the questions we will ask on what is the authority of this work group? Can it make revision? Has this work group even been nullified, like we will show in a few? But please go on.
So actually it should be flip-flopped. After it goes to the unanimous, goes to that, then it goes to the governor's desk, gets passed in law, and then there's a work group. So I have those two flip-flopped.
Okay.
Possibly. Okay. Well, see, that's why I'm a dentist and I don't know these things. Trying.
We'll make another arrow.
Yeah.
Reversal arrow. That's okay.
We'll do one of these.
Yes.
Okay. and once it gets to the governor's desk, then they have the option to either sign it into law, amend it and return it, veto it, in which it goes back to the House or the Senate, or take no action, which in turn it turns into it becomes law. Okay, so Tarek, do you want to bring up the actual bill so that we can see what it looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's show how the bill looks like in its PDF format, and then we'll go back to Amy's presentation. Okay, so let's see. All right, that's how the bill looks like. Senate Bill 257, offered January 10th. Be it enacted that the General Assembly of Virginia, the Code of Virginia will be amended and reenacted by section numbered, etc., as follows. Annual actual loss ratio report. And then it goes to the exclusions. The ratio of incurred claims and other compensation, that's for large employer coverage. Okay, so for the actual loss ratio for large employer coverage issued by dental carrier, the ratio of incurred claims and compensation paid or due to dental providers for the reporting period to earned premiums, like which is what you said, the benefits divided by premiums gives us the dental loss ratio. What are the exclusions? It excludes for the reporting period the followings: related state and federal taxes, related licensing and regulatory fee expenses. This is a big one. This is a huge one. As Muhaber Skala says, this is a massive loophole. In non-profit community benefit expenditures, which have been disclosed to the public to support dental services and improve dental care access and quality in the Commonwealth. Remember that word, quality. Quality improvement activities. The amounts or related claims payments identified through fraud reduction efforts and other related payments under state or federal law. But basically that's, and defines the dental carrier, the large employer. It goes over a lot of references to other bills and other statutes. I would think that that's what it is. Statutory construction in relationship to other laws, it looks like this, but Dr. Amy will simplify that to us in her presentation. And then at the end, this is also a very important part, the summary and the work group, which we have a lot of questions about. But let me get out of this and let you share again. Again, the purpose of this talk is for, first, our fellow VDA delegates to know and understand and learn, what did we pass? What did we agree to? What is going on? What are those legislative efforts that we're making? For Virginia Dental Association members to know that as well and learn the efforts and realize the importance of staying members and renewing. And for the wider Virginia dentists, all Virginia dentists, if you're not a member, please join, make our voice stronger. We are working on these bills. We are trying to find ways to get our voices heard as individual dentists. So yeah, join us.
Yeah, if I was not a member, I would have no clue that this was going on right now. And
it
just
impacts you. It impacts all of us.
100%. And it affects the public. And so I'm going to jump into I just copied and pasted that first part of the bill right here. And I want to let's look a little bit closer at what a major exclusion is within this dental loss ratio. And then I'm going to show you how that can really affect our dental loss ratio numbers. And so in the current language as it is right now, it allows dental carriers to exclude nonprofit community benefit expenditures and improve dental care access and quality in the Commonwealth. What was that term that you used, Tarek? Quality improvement measures?
Quality improvement activities, QIAs.
Yes.
Quality improvement activities in the recent NCOIL bill that the National Association of Dental Plans agreed with the ADA on, which is not really, I don't think it should pass or could pass because the Board of Trustees of the ADA have not approved this. They have just been informed of it. They couldn't make any, and I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's legal to do, but I'll leave that to other people who are talking about the national issues. But yeah, the quality improvement activities in the NCOIL bill, it says it has a cap of 5%. Historically, quality improvement activities have been at the 0.8% rate, and even the 0.8% is too much. In a recent, a judge in a recent suit was Columbus versus Trump, I think. He said 0.8% has to be justified. It's not just a number. So why is it all the way up to 5%? I'm not sure, but that's another loophole that they can put up to 5% of their earnings as expenditures, even though it's not really direct patient care expenditures, or it shouldn't qualify under the DLR, basically.
And essentially, the way that I am reading this language is that by completely excluding this, we're not even putting it's taken off the docket. So really any amount of money could be put in here.
Another example, Delta Dental. That Muhaber Scholar did this, like that was the main advertisement they went for to convince the public and to educate the public. Delta Dental of Massachusetts paid their mother company, Catalyst Institute, a tax-exempt institute, Catalyst Institute. They paid them $291 million in 2019 as a non-profit community benefit, and they paid $177 million on their patient care. So look at the big disparity. That's a massive loophole. They did almost double what they paid in patient care. They paid it to their mother company, which is tax exempt. So that language is not, I don't know how we accepted it, how we came up with it. Was there some back and forth with other stakeholders on this? But this is not okay. This exclusion is not okay.
Yep. And I'm going to argue why this exclusion via the math, why it's not okay. One solution that I would hope that maybe we can consider in the future, if we have the opportunity to amend this, is change one word, take out excluding and turn it to including. So let the public know how much money is going into this category 3 of nonprofit community benefit expenditures, and have that be a part of the reporting, so that the patients and the employers who are choosing it can see how much money is going towards benefits and how much is going towards these nonprofit community benefit expenditures and quality improvement activities for it.
Brilliant. This is brilliant. It's more transparency too.
Yes, exactly. And so the way that I interpret the current language is that it allows the exclusions to be extracted from or subtracted from the total premiums paid. And it allows for this marketing, that's those quality improvement measures, to be bundled under nonprofit community expenditures. It allows for much of the reporting to be left to the interpretation by the dental carrier. What I propose a better language would be to include the reporting of all expenses along with money going out and benefits, so that the public can see where their dollars are actually going. I believe this provides the most accurate type of reporting of the data. And then accurate data really is what is transparent data that is meaningful to the public. And the public really are ultimate stakeholders in this matter. They're the ones who are paying for these insurances. So they have a right to know, like, how much of their premium dollars are going back to their care with it.
Absolutely.
So here's an example, okay? If you look on the left-hand column, these are the data categories, and I just made a simple 100 for the sake of simplicity. So we've got premium money in, that's how much money a patient is paying into their dental insurance, how much benefit money is being paid out, what the exclusions, that includes that nonprofit expenditures, administrative costs. And then how does the DR calculation work with the current language versus the best language? And then what is the calculation? So based on the current language, if you use these numbers, then if you look at the DLR calculation based on the current language, that means it is the benefit divided by premium minus exclusions. Okay, and remember that the nonprofit expenditures and quality improvement, aka marketing, gets to be subtracted from the denominator. So now you have 60 over 100 minus 20, which is a 75% DLR. That looks really nice, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Let's take this same data. And if you base it on the simplest form of a DLR calculation, it's your benefit divided by your premium, which we talked about at the beginning. Now it's 60%. So now my question is, which one of these is really a true DLR? Which one of these is really telling the public where their money is going? And my argument is that we can do better with our language and to create a best language scenario than what it currently is right now. This is the same data set, just a different calculation. And then jumping all the way down to the last paragraph, there is a work group that of stakeholders, and this includes, I think we should be paying attention to who is included in this work group. We have dental carriers, representatives from the Virginia Dental Association, representatives from the Association of Dental Support Organizations, and any other interested stakeholders. And they are to determine if any revisions are necessary to this Code of Virginia regarding ethics and fairness of dental carrier business practices. And the work group will report to these chairs on or before October 1st, 2024. So I'm not quite sure if this work, I have some questions and I'm gonna probably just jump right into that. Okay. So based on this information and the way that I interpret the current language, these are the questions that Tarek and we have. Why was the nonprofit community expenditures exclusion written into the bill? Can carriers, as it's written, manipulate their DLR calculation with these exclusions?
Yes, absolutely.
Can we collectively agree that it's fair and ethical for dental carriers to be required to also include this exclusions data? I would say, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who
It's a transparency bill. It's a dental insurance transparency bill.
Yes.
Include this information. Tell us what all your non-profit community expenditures are.
Mm-hmm.
Are they $291 million to your parent company? Or is it something else?
Put that data, because supposedly it's getting reported somewhere, but put that reported information within this transparency bill information so that that information is right next to each other for the public to see. Just saying that it's reported somewhere else, which it's where they say that it's reported somewhere else, but if it's somewhere else, well, now people have to look all around and find different places, and then they have to do the math. It
Not
should
too many people will
all
go
that
there.
information needs to be in one place. And I think we can fight for that.
Absolutely.
And then who will represent us as VDA members in the work group?
I can talk a little about this because I asked our government affairs, Laura, and she said that's what she thinks. She thinks after the bill passes in July, they will meet in a session, the VDA leadership, and it will be the CEO, Brian Dunn, I'm sure the VDA president, Justin Norbo, who's a great guy, and the legal team, the lobbying team. But this is not set in stone. That's just asking about it.
Great. Does this work group allow us to suggest revisions to the bill? Can VDA members or other dentists, or, are we allowed to request to be a part of the work group? Don't know. And how can we as VDA members continue to become more involved in this process? Do you want to jump in on that one with what you heard?
For being more involved in the process?
About the portal or something, or?
Oh, yes, 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 yes. There will be a portal, but that's collecting data from the VDA members. The VDA is thinking of making a portal similar to the questions we were asked in the House of Delegates meeting, where we were asked how many of your practice is insurance-based versus fee-for-service, how many write-offs do you have, like percentage of write-offs in your practice, just getting some more information on our personal private practices on
Okay.
what we have. So there would be a portal VDA members can, but here's the thing, we want more Virginia dentists to be VDA members. I'm not sure what the percentage is. Do you know? I can't remember.
Don't know. Mm-mm.
But we need more. We need more people because the percentage of non-renews is increasing. And that makes us weaker in front of the uh, lobbying power of insurance companies. And at the end, it affects you. You as a Virginia dentist who is not a member of the VDA, who is not paying your dues. All these legislative efforts are going to either benefit you positively or affect you negatively. Uh, You're giving us a bigger stick to use for your interest if you are a member. So I really encourage all Virginia dentists to become VDA members, to stay informed, to be able to influence the decisions that in the end will affect your bottom line, your livelihood as a dentist in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
And honestly, I do, from what I saw, this time in January at the House of Delegates and at the lobby day, the VDA, like, they have some strong relationships down in Richmond. They are very good at pushing for us as dentists. And just as Tarek said, we need to, encourage more membership and more participation so that we can have that bigger influence on Capitol Hill with that. But we can't do that if numbers are dropping with this. So we do encourage as much membership as possible. I would like to show, as I was trying to put this little presentation together, I had run across a little bit, or the video that talks about how this House subcommittee met and approved this bill moving forward. And it was very interesting because at the end, it approved to strike out the last paragraph of the bill that relates to the work group. And I'm really interested to learn more about that. And I'm really hopeful that our VDA, maybe Mr. Dunn or somebody, high up in the VDA chain can help explain this to us, because I didn't quite understand what it meant to us. So
Yes.
if I play it, let me know.
1132 is really about competition, utilization, and access. About encouraging the competition, patient utilization, and improving the access to essential dental care here in the Commonwealth. The legislation is not a mandate on a specific dental loss ratio, but rather a simple transparency and reporting bill. There is no known opposition to the bill. It's my understanding that also the Virginia Dental Association has worked closely with the dental insurance carriers. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, dental insurance carriers are to disclose their annual or actual loss ratio. The Bureau of Insurance will post annual dental insurance carriers' actual loss ratio on their websites. And a work group will also be convened of stakeholders to evaluate the need for changes regarding fairness in dental carrier business practices. And then, of course, finally, the transparency and accountability will protect patients and provide incentives for insurers to operate efficiently. The bottom line, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, is better transparency and simple reporting. It all equals more robust dental benefits for Virginians. And that.
Thank you, Delegate Hayes. Any questions for Delegate Hayes on this Peace in the Valley bill? I think I know the answer. Anyone here to testify in favor?
Mr. Chairman, Scott Johnson is General Counsel for the Virginia Dental Association. I want to thank obviously the patron, but also the Bureau of Insurance has worked with us, Mr. Gray, Delta Dental, and a lot of different folks. It is about transparency. It's not a mandate. I'm glad to answer any questions, and we look forward to working through the work group with the Bureau to look at fair business practices over the summer.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Tyler Craddock, the Legislative Strategies Group, on behalf of the Virginia Dental Hygienists Association, we support the bill. We appreciate Delegate Hayes' leadership in bringing it forward.
Doug Gray, on behalf of the HP, we like the bill.
I think Delegate Shin has a motion.
I have a question for the patron and whether the patron might consider it a friendly amendment if we were to strike lines 139 through 145 that calls for the work group and instead request that a letter be sent by the chairwoman in order to achieve the same results and or recommendations to keep the bill moving forward.
I would, I believe,
You like that amendment, don't you?
like that amendment. I love it. I love that amendment, Mr. Chair.
All right, do I have a motion? All in favor? The amendment is adopted. Do I have another motion?
I'd move to report.
So Delegate Hayes loves that amendment because it seems like it will speed up the process. Is that your understanding of it?
I believe that's my understanding. Yes. And I think there still is going to be a work group, but I'm not quite sure because the motion was to strike through that last paragraph, which talks about the work group. So I would love to hear from our experts at the VDA feedback on that amendment and what does that really mean to us.
So your main questions are: what will the work group be formed? Will it happen, or has it been, or this amendment has struck it off? And can this work group, if it gets convened, make revisions to the bill instead of excluding, just changing those two letters, including? Give us more data. Can we do that? Anything else you want to talk about?
I guess if everything is as it is right now, do we still have an opportunity next year to, as a collective group in the VDA, if we can all agree that we don't like this idea of that particular exclusion, can we propose an amendment to the bill after it gets passed? And I think that's it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Virginia dentists watching this, leave a comment, let us know, contact me or Dr. Amy. Do you want us to work on this? Is this something that you want to see the VDA work on to improve that bill? Let us know. And well, thank you for your time today. Thank you for the gift of your time, like Ryan Mullis always says. And I'll talk to you later.